treasure!
Wow.
Oh boy, I wasn't looking forward to this. Treasure Planet is okay. I've gotten a lot of requests to talk about why this movie in particular is an underrated masterpiece. And I'm really glad that's what all of y'all think of this movie. But yeah, I'm sorry, this just didn't work for me that well. There is one aspect of it I do consider to be truly exceptional, and that's John Silver. Honestly, one of the most interesting and well-written characters in any Disney movie. I love how he's established to the audience, but not the characters, as the twist villain. It sets him up for such exceptionally strong development over the course of the story because we actually get to see it. We see him start to care for Jim. We see him struggle between his growing conscience and the allure of the treasure. Everything involving him is believable, entertaining, and fantastic. I also like Jim Hawkins. He starts out as a bland, edgy, whatever kind of teenager, but there's some tangible development for him as well over the course of the story. He grows into his role as a hero in a more natural, believable way than most Disney protagonists. So these two characters are great. Everything else about the movie isn't. Wow, these Doppler and Amelia characters seem potentially fun and interesting. I love how the movie doesn't use them at all and shoves them into a ridiculous forced side romance. The aesthetic of this movie is unique for sure, but honestly, it was mostly just distracting and weird for me. I just don't think the old-timey ships and outfits blend that well with futuristic tech at all, and it made it really difficult to get invested in the setting. The pacing of this movie is so strange. It almost feels like a completely different film halfway through when they get to Treasure Planet. And while I didn't love the first half, I definitely preferred it because it didn't have this obnoxious dickhead robot who honestly might be worse than Turk in terms of sheer annoyance. The only way I can imagine this character working is if they were voiced by the same voice actor who plays Master Shake and Gazpacho. Try and picture this robot with that voice.
You start off as this blade of grass, and then you go inside and it's like a luge. You go down the esophagus, you're in the stomach, large intestine, small intestine, favorite part, by the way.
If only, am I right? And Morph, actually, I really like Morph. He's great. Overall, I could totally see what makes this movie such a cult classic and why so many of you love it. I just can't relate. I really wish I could. I wish everything else in the movie was on the same level as John Silver and his relationship with Jim. I have nothing but respect for Ron Clements and John Musker, who fought tooth and nail to get this movie made for so many years. But for me, this is probably their weakest work, and I feel really bad about saying that since it was their longtime passion project, and it bombed spectacularly at the box office. That really sucks. But at least they got to create Tamatoa 14 years later, so honestly, I call that an absolute win.